Are investigators connecting the dots on another Hillary Clinton scandal? This one involves a Swiss bank, a shaky legal deal, and millions of dollars in donations and speaking fees. This is Special Report. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. Coincidence or connection? That is the question again tonight on another emerging scandal involving Hillary Clinton, her role as Secretary of State, and a sudden increase in money to her family's foundation and her family's bank account. This comes, of course, as Republican presidential candidates try to move up or solidify their positions ahead of next week's first of the campaign debate. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Carl Cameron on Donald Trump's continued domination of the polls and what it's costing other GOP candidates. But we begin with Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry and plenty of interest over a possible conflict of interest for Hillary Clinton again. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Brett. More questions about that ethics agreement barring foreign donations to the foundation being broken. As Fox has learned new information tonight, but the Clinton camp getting nervous about Joe Biden getting into this race.
As Hillary Clinton today emerged from a meeting of top AFL-CIO officials without the presidential endorsement from organized labor she's hoping for, the former Secretary of State also had to deal with fresh allegations the Swiss bank UBS sharply increased donations to the Clinton Foundation after she intervened to help the company in a tax evasion case.
I would say that any implication that is attempting to be made along those lines is categorically false.
The Wall Street Journal reported the bank also paid Bill Clinton $1.5 million for a series of engagements. In fact, UBS Wealth Management has been the biggest source of speech income for the former president. And her help for a massive bank will only provide more fodder for Socialist Democratic Senator Bernie Sanders, who last night had a massive virtual town hall with 100,000 supporters.
Tonight, what we're going to focus on is building a strong grass movement. That is how we're going to win this election.
And there are new signs the Clinton camp is worried Vice President Joe Biden may be inching closer to getting in, with Democratic sources telling Fox eyebrows were raised among Clinton advisors when they learned a top aide to Biden was spotted having breakfast with a major Democratic money man. Biden Chief of Staff Steve Ricchetti met with Louis Sussman, a big fundraiser for the presidential campaigns of John Kerry in 2004 and Barack Obama in 2008. Fueling more suspicion among Clinton intimates, the vice president is gauging whether he can raise the necessary cash. Sussman, a Clinton friend who served as U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom under President Obama, confirmed to Fox the breakfast took place, but insisted it was a personal meeting because he's known Ricchetti for years. Quote, "I'm not planning anything," Sussman said in a phone interview, adding, "Hillary Clinton's our candidate now." In the wake of his son's death, a Biden spokeswoman told Fox, quote, "The Biden family is going through a difficult time right now. Any speculation about the views of the vice president or his family about his political future is premature and inappropriate." Meanwhile, with the State Department poised to release more of Clinton's official email on Friday, McClatchy reported that among the classified emails in Clinton's server, there's information from 5 different intelligence agencies, including material from the Benghazi terror attacks, as Clinton pointed a finger at the State Department for the slow pace of the email release.
This is really a question for the State Department. They're the ones that are bearing the responsibility to, sort through these thousands and thousands of emails.
A new Quinnipiac poll today shows Biden running as well or better than Clinton in head-to-head matchups against various Republicans, including Donald Trump. Both men like to chuck out the script, speak bluntly, something that's lifted Trump and could help Biden at Clinton's peril. Brett?
One to watch. Ed, thanks.
Good to see you.
Well, we are 1 week away from what could be the first major defining point in the 2016 presidential campaign. Most Republican hopefuls are off the road preparing for a debate in Cleveland. But as has been the case for a lot of this cycle, Donald Trump had his own plans. Chief political correspondent Carl Cameron has tonight's top story.
Claiming the world asked him to be there despite his controversial remarks about illegal immigrants, Donald Trump arrived at his Turnberry Resort near Glasgow, Scotland, to host the British Women's Open and told reporters from around the world that he expects to be president of the United States.
Illegal immigration in the United States is a huge subject, and I brought it to the fore, and everybody's thanking me for it. And I think that's one of the reasons. I think that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I became #1 in the polls.
The latest Quinnipiac poll has Trump ahead of Scott Walker and Jeb Bush, the only two also clearing double digits. There's a 6-way virtual tie at 5% and 6%. and the rest are at 3% or under. Aides say Trump's not prepping for the debate next week, but knows in addition to illegal immigration rhetoric, he'll need to address his past support for Democrats, universal health care, abortion, and his attacks on John McCain and most of the GOP field.
When anybody, I don't care who it is, takes a shot at the veterans of this country, that makes statements like Donald Trump made about our POWs, I'm not going to be quiet.
The other day when he went after me specifically, I just said, hey, he can speak for himself, but he's using the talking points of the Democrats.
Walker's broken away from the middle of the pack and become a fixture of the top tier. He's been aggressively boning up on foreign policy for months in advance of next week's debate. All the candidates have been overshadowed by Trump's antics, but it's Jeb Bush, who still maintains a big edge in cash raised by both his campaign and now independent super PAC, who got elbowed out of the lead. Bush knows his positions on national education standards and immigration reform are big targets for other rivals, too.
Earlier this week, Jeb comes out, doubles down on amnesty. I think the Gang of Eight, I think that the amnesty approach is wrong. I think the Jeb Bush approach is wrong. You've got to secure the border.
Today, the 2016 field of 16 candidates became 17.
Hello, I'm Jim Gilmore, and today I'm announcing my candidacy for the Republican nomination for President of the United States.
Gilmore told Fox News today he recognizes the challenges of entering such a crowded race, but has a lot to offer as a former governor of Virginia, a key swing state, and as past chairman of the Republican National Committee.
Before Gilmore, the last candidate to enter the race was John Kasich. Polls suggest strongly that he got an immediate bounce into the middle of the pack. He's the governor of the bellwether state of Ohio, where the debate takes place next week. So Kasich's now looking for a second boost from the debate to launch him, he hopes, into the top tier. Brett?
Okay, Carl, thank you. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the newest entry into the Republican presidential race, former Virginia Governor Jim Gilmore in our center seat. The pro-life group waging a media war on Planned Parenthood fired another shot today. The fourth and latest video seems to expand on the narrative that the women's health provider sold fetal body parts and tried to cover it up. Correspondent Kristen Fisher has tonight's story, which contains graphic images you may find disturbing.
This is undercover video of a meeting between a Planned Parenthood vice president and two people posing as fetal tissue buyers. Listen as the vice president explains why any potential contract between the two parties should be done in the name of research and not a, quote, business venture.
Putting it under the research gives us a little bit of a little overhang sort of over the whole thing. Because if you have someone in a really anti-state that's going to be doing this for you, they're probably going to get caught.
The Planned Parenthood executive also discusses payment. Rather than one flat fee for each aborted fetus, she agrees to price it body part by body part.
Here's some organs for you. They're all attached. Here's the stomach. Oops, sorry, here's both of you. And heart.
The director of Priests for Life, Father Frank Pavone, said, quote, in order to sell baby body parts, there first has to be a baby. It's time for those who have been denying that fact to admit it, and for those who have been admitting it only in private to admit it in public as well. This is the fourth undercover video released by the anti-abortion group, the Center for Medical Progress. On Tuesday, a court in California banned the group from releasing any footage of 3 high-ranking members of a company that provides aborted fetal tissue to researchers. But that temporary restraining order does not apply to Planned Parenthood officials. Today, Planned Parenthood maintained it's done nothing wrong and nothing illegal, and called this latest video, quote, another misleading and deceptively edited video being publicized by extremists who entered our facility based on misrepresentations and an elaborate, years-long fraudulent scheme. And it was, quote, extremists who shut down Planned Parenthood's website for several hours today. In Florida, Governor Rick Scott is ordering an investigation into every Planned Parenthood office in the state that performs abortions. And on Capitol Hill, Senate Republicans are pushing a bill to defund Planned Parenthood, a bill that the White House has said it will not support, nor will the Democratic frontrunner for president, Hillary Clinton.
I think that it's another effort by the Republicans to, try to limit the health care options for women, and we should, not let them succeed once again.
The Senate Majority Leader says he hopes the first procedural vote on this defunding bill will be Monday, but Republicans aren't sure they'll have the 60 votes they need to bring this bill to the floor. Brett?
Kristen, thank you. Up next, is the American corporate tax code un-American? First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 27 in Charlottesville, as 3 University of Virginia graduates and fraternity members are suing Rolling Stone magazine over a debunked account of a gang rape. The men are also suing the writer of the story and the magazine's publisher. They say they suffered vicious and hurtful attacks because of inaccuracies in the article, which the magazine retracted. Fox 11 in Los Angeles with the Coast Guard's efforts to determine the source of a 3-mile-long oil slick floating off the Santa Barbara County shoreline. It's about 1,000 yards from the sand and beaches. They do remain open. This is a live look at Sacramento from Fox 40 out there. The big story there tonight, a fast-spreading wildfire in Lake County doubles in size overnight. A CAL FIRE spokeswoman says the blaze is threatening dozens of buildings. At least 500 people are being forced to evacuate. That's tonight's live look. Outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.